What's up, guys? George Balekji here with Foxborough Rush. But hey, check out the latest episode of Boston has entered the chat. Travis Thomas and I go through, of course, the world of sports right now and all of the culture, including Luka finally talking to the media, both in LA and nationally, about the surprise trade that shocked the sports world. We also get into Super Bowl prop bets, taking a look ahead to the big game and what props we like. And as always, on the midweek edition of the chat, we have ringside reviews. That's Ethan and Jason holding it down, talking the latest from Raw on Netflix. Now, let's get to Foxborough Rush. What's up, folks? Welcome in. It's Foxborough Rush. He's Travis Thomas. I'm George Balekji. T, how we doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to have you back.
Good to be back.
Last time Keegan was here and we did the show together, I tried to get him to party when you weren't here, and he did. But this last time, George, I think you're in his head. I think you have him shook. He's like, well, last time we partied and had so much fun, and George didn't like that. I'm like, what's wrong with you, man? Say it with your chest. Have some fun. The parents are gone. Let's party. Look,
end of the day, Keegan doesn't want to defy what he learned in Dare, and he's going to look out what's best for him. And I'm proud of him for stepping up and being a little more mature than last time.
I know.
I'm happy to be back. There's no empty beer cans lying around anywhere. I didn't find a keg behind the shed in the backyard.
How boring. It's just so boring. I try. My whole life, I've tried to peer pressure people, and this one time it didn't work, George. Whatevs.
Hey, my man, we got a fun show for you guys today. Myles Garrett. And Cooper Kupp. Both potentially on the trade block. Makes sense for both the Patriots, but we'll go through how we'd want to see those deals go down.
Yep.
We also get into Drake May. Look, it's Super Bowl week. That means it is car wash week in the media.
Yes.
You'll see a bunch of players do a bunch of appearances. Drake May made his rounds, and he had some comments about what he looks for in a wide receiver one. We'll get into Todd Downing joining Mike Vrabel's coaching staff, and we'll take a look at Tom Brady and the early effect that he has on the Vegas Raiders and all the hirings going down there as they build up a team. First, let's get to it, and let's talk about Cooper Kupp being on the trade block.
Okay.
Because that's what I want to get into right away. So Cooper Kupp, obviously at the height of his powers, is one of the best wide receivers in the league. He's just a few years removed from that. And as you see on your screen, that's him putting out his statement that he will be seeking a trade. Well, that he was informed by the Rams that they're seeking to trade him. He's not happy about it. And he said he always envisioned his ending of his career being in LA. He knows it's a business, and he knows everything's for a reason. So, you know what? He's going, I want to go to a contender. Now, right off the bat, you're going to be like, well, George, the Patriots aren't contenders. But the Patriots need a wide receiver one.
Yes.
Trav, I want to start with this. Cooper Kupp, at the age 32 of next season, you're giving up assets, and you may have to pay him. He would step in and be wide receiver one for the Patriots. Does he make sense in your eyes?
He makes sense. I don't love the idea of giving up assets to get him.
You're going to have to.
I know. I'm fully on board with paying him and sort of crossing my fingers and holding my nose that he can stay healthy.
Okay.
The other thing I worry about a little bit with him is how much of it is system. We talk about this all the time, insert player name here. I mean, I've even heard it with Patrick Mahomes. If Mahomes doesn't go to Andy Reid and he's a Bear instead of Mitch Trubisky, is Patrick Mahomes, right?
Yeah.
And we play this in sports all the time. What if Phil Jackson never had Michael Jordan? What if, right? Belichick, Brady, the whole nine. So with Cooper Kupp, I just wonder, especially at this advanced age, this is not prime Cooper Kupp. This is the back end of whatever's left of that for however many years you get it. Again, if he could stay healthy, right?
Yeah.
So I have concerns there, but listen, whoever you go out and get, everyone wants T. Higgins around here, George. Well, okay, T. Higgins was a number 2 to Jamar Chase. Are we sure T. Higgins is a number 1? So no matter who you bring in here, you're kind of holding your nose anyways and hoping that this works out. I'm willing to pay Cooper Kupp because the money is there. And I'm willing to take that chance because I'm so desperate at the receiver position.
Okay.
And we all believe he's a great receiver, and it's not totally on the system.
Yeah.
However, when I say I'm afraid to give up assets, it's within reason. You're going to have to trade to get them.
Yeah.
But what does that look like? Are we talking 4th round? Are we talking 3rd rounders?
Not a current third in my eyes.
If we're talking 1st and 2nds,
no,
I'm out on Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
So it depends on what that compensation looks like, I guess.
Yeah.
but I would embrace this with open arms more if Cooper Kupp was just a free agent. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The fact of trading for him, I don't. It makes me a little uneasy because if I give up something to get him, look, George, you and I talk all the time on the show about how many holes are on this roster.
Tackle.
Yeah.
You could say guard.
You could say guard.
Wide receiver.
Yes.
Cornerback too.
Yes.
Edge rusher.
Like
pass catchers, playmakers in general. Interior defensive lineman, off-ball linebacker.
Look, you're checking a couple boxes with Cooper Kupp. Wide receiver, playmaker.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
Man beater.
But again,
Smart, good run blocker.
Veteran.
Vet.
You're checking off a winner. You're checking off a lot of boxes.
Okay.
But, you're going to have to give something up to get him. I need to fill these holes on my roster a little more, so I need those draft assets. That's the part that's causing me to pause. But having Cooper Kupp here, paying Cooper Kupp to be here, I have zero issues with. It's the trade for him that has me a little worried.
What do you always say when you and I are head-to-head? We're fundamentally different?
Yes.
Okay. We're fundamentally different on this one.
You don't want him.
No. I'm fine with giving up assets.
Okay.
What's the price tag?
Okay.
Because let's go back to 2021 and what Cooper Kupp did. 145 catches.
Yeah.
Almost 2,000 damn yards. Played all 17 games and had 16 receiving touchdowns.
Sure.
In the season since 22, 23, and 24, he's played no more than 12 games. He's had no more than 812 receiving yards.
Yeah.
He's had no more than 75 catches. He's had no more than 6 touchdowns.
Yep.
And he's going to be 32 next season. This isn't 28-year-old Cooper Kupp. Now, if the deal mirrors what the Texans did for Stephon Diggs, future second-round pick, and that's it. Which when you give a future pick, Trav, tack on a round, and that's what it is, because you're expected to get better.
That's right.
So a future second is like giving up a current third. Now, the Patriots have 2 thirds in this draft, so
that's right.
I wouldn't hate 69th overall pick or the 77th overall pick going up. But here's my thing.
Okay.
What is the price tag going to be? Because right now, and why the Rams are trading him, looking to trade him, is he carries cap hits of 20 and 19 million.
That's right.
So I say yes if you give up a future day 2 or day 3 pick in the draft, and there is a restructure of an extension in the negotiations before he lands in New England.
Okay.
I say no if you are going to have to pay him $19 million the next 2 years. And I get it. The Patriots have $132 million in cap space. That is a boatload of money. But here's the thing. Go for the big fish. And I need to know what this team looks like and what their free agency market and the interest they get from T. Higgins looks like on March 12th. That's when free agency starts. Because this is what it's going to look like. Trav, would you rather? You have to give up assets. So you know how I am. And it's why I'm the one that says pick up the beer cans. And that's why I say no kegger. Because I always got to come in and be like, well, this is what it really is. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So let me not come off like a snob. But Trav, this is what it's going to be. And I get it. I get what you're saying. I'm fundamentally with you if he was just a free agent.
Yes.
That's not the reality. You're going to have to give up assets, and you're going to have to pay them. Now, would LA retain some of the salary cap? But this is what I give to you. Would you pay $15 to $20 million a year the next 2 years to a 32 and 33-year-old Cooper Kupp who has durability and reliability concerns?
He does.
Or would you give $90 to $100 million guaranteed over the next 4 years? Guaranteed money, not total value.
To a T. Higgins.
Who will be 26, 27, 28, and 29. And when Jamar Chase has missed games, T. Higgins has been that wide receiver one for the Bengals in that role.
Listen,
I don't think Cooper Kupp's scheme reliant. I think he's high IQ. But let's face it, it's more than scheme, it's structure. He has one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yes.
One of the best offensive-minded head coaches.
System.
One of the best wide receiver coaches in the NFL. One of the best wide receiver rooms. And yes, one of the best systems.
Yeah, for sure.
It would be drastically different here.
Yes.
But Drake May's good.
It
I
doesn't
say
have
no
to be.
if I got to pay him.
It doesn't have to be drastically different, though. If I can answer your question, I mean, you laid out an A and B. I think there's a C. Can you not get both? Can you not get T. Higgins and Cooper Kupp? Does your wide receiver room, now it's expensive because you just laid out some monopoly numbers, okay? And not Baltic Avenue either. Like you laid out Park Ave numbers, right?
Yeah.
But let's just say they pony up and they pay T. Higgins and Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
George, overnight, brother. I mean, you just changed your entire franchise. You have 2 bona fide wide receivers.
Yep.
Are you still having the conversation of who's one? Maybe.
Yeah.
But you're paying T. Higgins. In your scenario, George, you're paying T. Higgins like he is the one. And you're paying Cooper Kupp.
Hey,
you have to. And you're paying Cooper Kupp like he's a 2, right?
The advantage of T. Higgins being the best wide receiver in a weak free agency class, and
yes,
he knows he's going to be a 1.
That's
and,
right.
And he'll be the most recent to get paid.
Yes.
So right now it's going to look gaudy. I hate the comparison because Jaylen Brown lived up to the Supermax.
Yeah.
But it'll be that Jaylen Brown's the highest paid NBA player ever.
It's a sticker shock.
It'll be T. Higgins is the highest paid wide receiver in the league right now.
But that'll be 5 minutes, right?
Yeah,
Until
sticker shock.
whoever.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a sticker shock.
Cool.
But listen, if going back to option C.
Give me option C.
If you get Cooper Kupp and T. Higgins this offseason, now here's where we're not fundamentally
Are you
different.
pouring $50 million into them combined?
I know this. Overnight, you changed your franchise. Literally, in terms of weapons. That is your offseason.
Okay.
Now, in the draft, you address offensive line. You address pass rush. Some of those other holes that we talk about on the roster. You're good on weaponry. You're good. T. Higgins, Cooper Kupp is your trade and free agency offseason, and then you lock in on the draft to fill out the rest.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. It's not my money, A, so what do I give a damn? But B, it's an investment. You're investing in T. Higgins and Cooper Kupp to be the weapons for Drake May. This is why in this scenario, George, I would feel more comfortable with Cooper Kupp because he's used to having a badass on the other side of him in Puka.
Yeah.
So now he would, here, in theory, have it with T. Higgins.
Yeah.
He's used to having a bona fide Hall of Fame quarterback in Matt Stafford. Obviously, we don't know if Drake May can become that, but it certainly looks like he has the tools. So you have that quarterback working for you. You don't have the Sean McVay system per se, but you have an offensive system that we've seen time and time again in Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, and I believe in Cooper Kupp grasping
I
it.
do too. So that's my point here. If you're telling me you're giving up, you said a future second, by the way, no problem with. So we're fundamentally in line here. Give up a future second for Cooper Kupp. Cool. I'm down with that. And you have T. Higgins. Now I'm all the way in. If you're telling me you're giving up a future second and you only have Cooper Kupp, I'm out. I'm out on that.
So that's where I go to now. If the Rams will eat some of the money just to mainly get Cooper Kupp off the books, that's gonna be more draft assets you're going to have to give up. Now, if you're paying Cooper Kupp less, and let's say combined, you're paying T. Higgins and Cooper Kupp and all this. Here's my thing too, though. As crazy as it sounds, as I'm talking about these receivers, and then here's what I would pay them.
Okay.
The number one guy on the list for the Patriots is free agent left tackle Alaric Jackson.
Well, right.
And that is someone at signing is going to get $50 million guaranteed.
Right.
AAV, however we want to break it down, it's going to look like a 3 or 4 year deal where he's probably making $28 million a year in that ballpark, right?
Sounds about right.
Somewhere around that mark, maybe 27. That puts him just behind Tristan Wirfs, just ahead of Christian Darrisaw. And you know what I think of Tristan Wirfs? That's my guy.
That's your dude.
He's the best left tackle in the game, so I'm not like smartest guy in the room. So if you're going to be paying that money, where you go, pay them both. No. I need Alaric Jackson, and that's where free agency's big.
Okay.
And to be honest, I would rather strike out on Cooper Kupp trying to get T. Higgins, and it doesn't work with T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Because this is, to me, the best free agent, and it's the best offseason when it comes to non-draft acquisitions for the Patriots.
Yeah.
Alaric Jackson, T. Higgins, Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton's 28 years
Been
old.
talking about Slayton.
So that's where it's big. Look.
Yeah.
And I get it, but this is a 32-year-old missing around 4 or 5 games a year, catching, 60 less passes a season, 70 less passes a season. It's no longer 2021 Cooper Kupp. This is now 32-year-old Cooper Kupp. That's a reality it has to be with all this. It makes sense. He'll run block. He'll be reliable.
He'll mold your young
he could
receivers
be a man beater.
too. He's a good guy.
And he will help out this young receiving room.
He's a good guy for that.
But there's so many more needs, and what I think helps more with the development of Drake May is protecting him up front. That's been my concern since day one. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, you're not. Here's where we do agree then on this Cooper Kupp thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm reinventing the wheel to get him here. I'm trying to shoehorn him in.
Yeah.
I'm saying Cooper Kupp with T. Higgins is a great offseason to me. And I hear you with the
who's your left tackle?
I hear you with the allocation of money. But I still would feel fine with going to the draft or doing whatever you got to do there. But some of that is because I disrespect offensive linemen, and you tell me that all the time, and I think you're right. But here's where we agree. If Cooper Kupp is your only offseason acquisition when it comes to wide receiver, you blew it, okay?
Yes.
I also like your idea of you got to throw all the eggs in the basket at T. Higgins. I agree with you. You said if you strike out on him, I'm willing to live with that. Here's where I'll say, if you throw all the eggs in the basket at T. Higgins and you strike out, Cooper Kupp may still be available.
That's the thing.
Okay,
he could be on the market now.
Yes.
Exactly. It can linger.
It's not the same urgency as a T. Higgins.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, let me throw this out there before we move on to Myles Garrett. If you strike out on T. Higgins, is Cooper Kupp a decent backup plan for the Patriots? Would you still, backup plan style, would you still be willing to give up that future second and to go get Cooper Kupp and be like, hey, you can work out the financials with the Rams. Let's take that off the table for now, George. Let's just talk in theory. We struck out on T. Higgins. He pulled a Calvin Ridley on the Patriots, right? Every excuse in the book, my girlfriend, state tax, I ain't coming, is the bottom line. That's what we heard. We don't give a damn the reasons.
Excise taxes.
Whatever it is,
Those just
right?
came down. I hate them.
Whatevs.
That's another time.
You strike out on T. Higgins. He goes to the Jets or some loser. Okay, fine. I mean, would you feel comfortable at that point, or is it a panic move saying, look, we'll give up a second, we'll figure out the financials, get us Cooper Kupp because we didn't get the big fish. We didn't get our top target. I'm okay in that scenario too, George. I am.
It's a multi-year rebuild still. So to that, let me say yes. And again, instead of future second, I think it's a future third, be given the age, reliability, whatever. Fine. Future day 2 pick. If at the end of the day, I'll look at your offseason and it's your wide receiver room is now Cooper Kupp.
Yes.
Let's throw in a Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State.
Okay.
Or a Pat Bryant out of Illinois.
Fine.
Harold Fannin out of Bowling Green. Still have Pop Douglas. You still have Kendrick Bourne. That is a established culture, teach young guys system, continue to draft and develop.
Yeah.
It's just they got to capitalize on what T. Higgins makes sense to give you my snobby answer. T. Higgins will be on the books, guaranteed money the next 4 years. You're not paying Drake May for the next 4 years.
That's right.
But so if you're striking out on T. Higgins, again, it's I cannot answer anything in a vacuum because I feel like it's disingenuous to our awesome listeners here on Foxborough Rush. If you get Cooper Kupp and other assets in the room, and now if it's a Cooper Kupp and a Darius Slayton and 2 rookie pass catchers, any position, give me an athletic tight end, give me a good receiver, then I'll live with. Then
you don't hate it, okay?
Now this is a real combo to have. Myles Garrett demanding a trade. He's now 30 years old. Now, I want to preface Myles Garrett demanding a trade. You see it right there on your screen. This is the statement he put out, putting a long thing of, as a kid dreaming up of the NFL, yada, yada, yada.
I love you, Cleveland.
Right? And I get it. But now he's going, look, I see the long-term plan for this team. They are in a ish position because of dumb ownership, giving Deshaun Watson 100% guaranteed money when they knew he wouldn't be playing football for 700 days between his last start with the Texans and first with the Browns. Say all that, he goes, I'm demanding a trade. Myles Garrett is seen. You talk to front offices around the league, best defensive player in the league. Not edge rusher.
No question.
Best defensive player.
No question.
This is a different price. Patriots have number 4 overall.
Yep.
If you want Myles Garrett, that is going away. Cleveland gets a 4th overall pick. And it's going to be more than the 4th. It could be a 4th and a 3rd, and then a future 2nd. It could be a 4th, a 3rd, the 4th overall pick, a 3rd, maybe another pick in this draft, and maybe a player. Would you? Let's start with the number 4 overall pick. Are you even staying on the phone when you hear, hey, Myles Garrett, it starts with the number 4 overall. Let's hear from there.
Well, yeah, you're not even making the call unless you're willing to have that conversation because
Great
you know
answer.
damn
Bingo.
well that's what they're going to ask for. Now, what you got to hope is, whoever's running the Browns has the same mentality as whoever's running the Dallas Mavericks, and you can fleece them like the Lakers fleeced them. But I don't, I'm gonna give a benefit of the doubt here and say that the Browns front office is smarter.
Andrew Berry knows what he's doing.
What he's doing. The
side part on this team, real quick, Travis.
Yeah, their roster's great.
Through the draft,
their roster's
2 good
great.
Corners, great safety, great off-ball
the whole
linebacker,
roster, George.
and JOK edge rushers, offensive line. They dealt with injuries.
The whole roster.
Pass catchers. This is what kills me with the Browns. It's like, hey, credit to them and Kevin Stefanski. They've done a great job building a team.
Yes.
Dumb ownership. Okay, I give it back to you.
No, you're right. Because the roster top to bottom is
good.
stacked.
That's a really good roster.
You could argue one of the best in the league.
Yes.
And then they blew it at the most important position.
Bingo.
Right? So
what did I say? It was Thanksgiving. They burnt the turkey.
That's right.
Got all the sides right, left the turkey in the oven too long.
They did. So listen, you're not even going to pick up the phone unless the number 4 pick is by the way, Browns, it should be noted for this conversation, the Browns already have the 2nd overall pick. So now, if you're them, you're talking about the number 2 and the number 4 pick in the draft. That's sizable.
Cam Ward and Abdul Carter. Cam Ward.
That's
and
one
Travis
hell of a draft.
Hunter.
That's one hell of a draft. So, I think for that, the Browns would be interested in the Patriots picking up the phone.
The Browns should do it.
The Browns would do it, I would think.
Yeah.
Here's my issue. I don't know if Myles Garrett, who I believe they're going to want to do right by.
And he wants to go to a contender.
I don't know if Myles Garrett looks at the Patriots as being close enough. If I'm Myles Garrett, I see New England. I appreciate the history. I appreciate the dynasty. I'd probably like Drake May, but I'm thinking, they still have some other things to do before they get a Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
I'm looking around at other places around the league. I'm looking at Detroit if I'm Myles Garrett. I'm looking at the Commanders if I'm Myles Garrett with a young quarterback, but they have more weapons. They have more things going there in D.C. than they do here right now. I'm looking at the Packers, who I know you're high on. I'm looking at teams around the league. Hell, can I get to Patrick Mahomes, the guy winning all the rings? I don't know if I'm looking at New England the way that New England, is looking at Myles Garrett. That's the issue. The Browns should be interested. You know damn well we're interested around here in Myles Garrett. I just don't know if he is, George.
Yeah. Now, let me tell you this. Let me start with, we have to go through this convo, but by me saying, if it works, and it is a 4th overall pick, and another draft pick or 2, or a draft pick and a player, I'm doing that trade. Because the Patriots sitting at 4, this is what it should be, Trav.
Yep.
It's Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter.
Yep.
And what you hope that a prospect picked at 4th overall, no matter what you see and
That's
the hype
right.
they get.
That's right.
You hope they could become a starter. You hope they could become all-pro caliber.
Yep.
You hope they could become, at the 4th overall pick, especially at those pillar positions, some of the best defensive players in the league. Myles Garrett at 30 years old is that. And I understand, well, he's 30, the decline. This guy's missed 2 total games the past 4 seasons combined. This past season alone, he was first in pass rush win rate, first in pressures, 4th straight 14 or more sack season. He's the best defensive end, one of the best defensive players. I would say best defensive player in the NFL.
Healthy,
That number 4 overall pick, all these college prospects, all these NFL prospects are, Trav, is that prospects.
That's right.
Myles Garrett is potential fulfilled. So if you're the Patriots and you're serious about it and you get a deal, it can't be, well, we like number. No. You trade number 4.
No, yeah.
Now
That's no
go
question.
on the other side of it. Now to your Myles Garrett argument.
Yeah.
Look at the top 15, let's say, in the draft.
Okay.
Because that's a high return.
Yeah.
The only teams where it would suit for him, contender, Chicago at 10.
Chicago at
but that's
10.
a new head coach.
Yeah.
San Fran at 11. They got cap issues.
Yeah.
And that is it. Atlanta at 15, maybe.
Would you throw Dallas in there with Dak, with Micah Parsons? I mean, Dallas picks
and
at 12.
Schottenheimer as a head coach and a stupid owner.
It's terrible. But if you're Myles Garrett, do you say, listen, they do have Dak?
No.
And now you're pairing him with Micah, which is scary.
I think that's a well-read enough guy. I love always hearing him at his pressers, except when he was talking about Deshaun Watson tearing his Achilles. I always love listening to his pressers because he's super smart, super well-read, and he gets it.
Yeah.
What he's leaving in Cleveland, stupid ownership ruining it, that's what he'd get in Dallas.
Right.
So that's when you have to get into the Tampa. Could make sense.
Tampa makes a lot of sense.
The defense is spotty, but it's a good front office,
Todd
good quarterback.
Bowles. Yep.
They've won.
Yep.
I like your Green Bay pick.
Yeah.
Detroit makes sense. I don't know if they give up that much. Washington makes sense.
Yeah.
Buffalo just got through what was supposed to be their reset year.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have cap space coming up. They need to get faster on defense. They have a young defensive line, but like Myles Garrett, that's who you pick up the phone. But now, if you're picking 30 overall like Buffalo, it's this year's first and next year's first.
Absolutely.
And you got to be at peace with giving that up.
Do you think the Browns may want to get this guy out of the AFC? Do you think there's any of that?
Oh.
Is there, like, in other words,
Andrew Berry could be.
right? Is there an edge for a Commanders, for a Lion, for a Packer to get him the hell out, or the Bears
edge,
to get him the hell out of Dodge?
But you're not going to give them a deal just because you don't want him in your conference. Make sense?
You're going to go the best deal regardless, you're saying.
You'll go best deal. If it's even, then yes, to your point, the edge goes to the NFC. Hey, we look at these deals, the picks are comparable.
Okay.
That we're getting the assets of players.
Okay.
It makes sense. Let's send them to the NFC instead of the AFC. Yes.
Okay, time out. Let me go hot take. Staying with your theory.
Okay.
Best deal available. If it's the NFC, we prefer that, but best deal available, we'll send him wherever. Mm-hmm. I mean, listen, he wants to go to a contender. Could the Ravens, if they make the best deal, hypothetically, George, if the Ravens blow everyone out of the water, we'll give up the draft for the next blank years. We're selling the farm to get Myles Garrett. If it is best deal available, do the Browns trade him in the division?
No.
Okay, so then there is an exception,
Yes.
which would lend me to think maybe they would lean NFC.
Yes. I get that. I think they lean outside of division mainly, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
They lean NFC. That makes complete sense.
Right.
Keep in mind with all this, Andrew Berry, the Browns general manager, went at the Senior Bowl talking to reporters. Obviously, it's a lot of talking going along around free agents,
Sure.
front office guys, and agents of NFL players. Like Myles Garrett thinking about demanding a trade and questioning the Browns' future was already public knowledge. Andrew Berry's like, we are not trading him. I get it, but we are not trading him. So it also depends. How realistic is Andrew Berry with all of this too?
Sure.
Because he could drive down the price, not on purpose, but he has to do what's best for that franchise moving forward.
Yeah, for sure.
They did such a damn good job drafting that team. Grant Delpit, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah,
Man.
Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, Myles Garrett, Jack Conklin dealt with injuries. DeJuan Jones has dealt with injuries. Nick Chubb has dealt with injuries. Wide receiver room, they went out and traded for pass catchers. Jerry Jeudy, look at that.
Bro.
The damn Haslams
Yep.
ruined that team.
Sure did.
Stupid ownership.
Completely guaranteed contracts, bro. It doesn't make sense.
No one does that.
You're right. You have to do right by the franchise, but I think you also have to do right by Myles Garrett for what he has contributed. And I'll say this. I said the Ravens could throw the farm. Throw the Bengals in, too, in the division, too, George. You want to go to contenders? If you're taking best, options available, best trade packages available,
Yep.
I would not be shocked if the Ravens and the Bengals throw together a package to try and get it done. It's just a matter of what the Browns, do they want to be haunted by this guy or not? I would think not.
And keep in mind, Myles Garrett, represented by Nicole Lynn of Clutch Sports.
Oh,
Hey, the same thing.
Chargers? Is that L.A.?
So what I'm saying is do right by Myles Garrett because you have to do right by his agent.
Right.
Because you want to sign future free agents,
Yeah,
they'll hold it against you.
absolutely.
There's politics and everything. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to check out Foxborough Rush every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for all things Patriots football. Mike Vrabel's staff is taking shape. Patriots are picking number 4 overall. The offseason is well into being on fire, beyond and past heating up. It's available on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, Twitch, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Trav, let's talk current Patriots.
All right.
Let's talk the current pillar, the current face of the franchise, Drake May. So he's making his rounds, was on Good Morning Football over on NFL Network, was on Up and Adams.
Yeah.
I think she's like with FanDuel. It's like a FanDuel network. It's on YouTube, her show, whenever I watch it. It is FanDuel. Our producer, Ethan, confirms it with me. Thank you, Ethan. I want to get right to it. Here's Drake May when talking about Mike Vrabel, his now head coach.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think big thing is kind of, I think a year 1 to year 2 is people always talking about just taking a jump. For me, just trying to improve in certain areas. So I think one way is protecting the football. I think I can protect the football better and be better in situational moments. I think that can be huge for myself. So, the big thing for me is get the guys going. I think, Coach Vrabel was talking about, coaching us up hard and Getting the right guys in the locker room, I think that's huge. So getting the guy who's done it in New England and knows what it's like to have success. I'm looking forward to having him there and excited.
He's excited to have some experience leading this team.
We're excited too, Drake.
That's what you want to hear. That guy's a leader.
Yes.
He is young. He's only entering year 2.
Yeah.
But I said it, go watch the games. Anyone can watch it. You see it. The eye test.
Yeah.
He is there. It's everything he does as a leader. Like him at the podium on Wednesdays, he doesn't say anything groundbreaking.
No.
He's not charismatic.
No.
He does the right thing of answering without answering.
That's
if
right.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's when you read between the lines of his answers, I go, damn, this guy is a effing leader.
Yep.
I would want to play for him. He's accountable. He backs his guys. He takes ownership. And you know what? He takes accountability when it's not his fault. But he's excited to now have that in a head coach, and someone's going to establish culture. I'm excited for Drake May because he went through it at UNC, playing with bad offensive lines, bad receiver rooms.
Yeah.
His last year, really, at UNC, year before he had a lot of talent around him. And he went through it his rookie season. So hearing him talk about Mike Vrabel like that on Good Morning Football, that's big from Drake May.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, you and I both wanted, when this started and we thought Gerard Mayo would get fired, we both talked about it would be great to have a young offensive mind, whether it's Ben Johnson or whoever's. We were both, you and I, ready to move on to the offensive side of the ball in terms of big picture. It didn't go that way. They went Vrabes. You and I both like Vrabes. We like the hire, so there's no beef here. But at the end of the day, it is a defensive-minded head coach. So what that tells me, even with Josh McDaniels being here, George, is that Drake May is going to be asked to manage games. Defensive-minded head coaches are all the same. I don't care what your name is. Insert Vrabel, insert Pete Carroll, insert whoever's. If you're a defensive-minded head coach, they all do the same damn thing. They want to run the ball, be physical, punch you in the mouth offensively, and they ask their quarterbacks to manage. And then on defense, they punch you in the mouth too. Mm-hmm. That's every defensive coach ever, okay? So I think, because McDaniels is here, you're still going to be able to develop this kid, but I don't think we're going to see these video game numbers from him. I'm excited that he is excited to work with Mike Vrabel, a guy who's led a team before, but I just hope that Drake May's open to see Justin Herbert in L.A. I think we're going to get a lot of that. Justin Herbert was a lot more efficient this year. He wasn't asked to do as much as he has been in the past. We saw that with Josh Allen, too, to a certain extent. So I just think, even though Drake May is happy to be here, I hope there's no, feeling like I'm going to be unleashed. No, you're not. You're going to manage the game. You're going to get better incrementally.
Yeah.
Hopefully they get you some weapons, which will help.
Yeah.
But I just don't think we're ever, under Vrabel anyway, going to see this kid throwing the ball all over the yard, George. I really don't.
You know what? Now, Mike Vrabel has said in answers in a short time as head coach of the Patriots, he's like, look, we're not going to throw 40 times a game.
Right.
He's like, I just don't think that's efficient and leads to winning.
Well,
but I credit to him, point blank period, when he was asked, hey, you ran the ball a lot. He goes, yeah, I had Derrick Henry. He's my best player. He will build. I believe in Mike Vrabel going into Josh McDaniels' offense in a very simple way and going, 10 is the best player on the offense.
Yes.
Build it around him. And Josh is going to look at him and go, yep.
Yeah.
He's not even, he could say, yeah, no-ish. I was thinking that since day one.
Yeah.
So I've been staying, living wherever he was, Westwood or Canton or Walpole or Rentham.
we found out it was kind of a letdown. He lives right by Foxborough, remember? And we
Is
were
he
like,
in Foxborough? Yeah, you're like, I want him on a compound on Nantucket.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, I don't want any of
Take
that.
a chopper to work every day. That'd be awesome.
Honestly, say if he lived, like you thought Brookline maybe, if you took a helicopter from Nantucket to Foxborough every day, he'd probably get there faster than driving from Brookline to. Yeah.
That's baller status, baby.
That I'm not gonna argue. Here's another good one from Drake May. Asking about Josh McDaniels. More importantly, how he admired how Tom Brady worked in Josh McDaniels' system. It's right here.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was awesome. I think he's what he's done with the Patriots, I think speaks for itself. He's coached one of the greatest, and I think the greatest to play. And what a success he had at the Patriots, and he's been a head coach as well. So he's got a lot of experience, and his stuff works. And if he proves it works, then His stuff's already in the system from all the years of the databases and the years they had it with Coach McDaniels, on kind of the film stuff. So it's been nice. I know a little bit of the terminology just from watching some old Tom stuff, but looking forward to getting things rolling, and he's fired up as well.
Was he talking straight X's and O's on the first phone call? Or was it a FaceTime, a Zoom? Like how nitty gritty did we get right away?
Yeah, a little bit. Offensive coordinators they always find a way to gravitate towards talking X's and O's. So it wasn't too much. I think getting to know me first, and obviously that's a big deal for him, getting to know his players. So
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You watch Tom Brady. They're already talking X's and O's. That was Drake May on Up and Adams with Kay Adams. I love it. I mean, this is a guy that's saying what him and Josh McDaniels have spoken about. They're already on the same page. And he's a guy that's fully bought in. He's like, I understand the history there. Like, he just gets it. It's more than the speak you hear of, yeah, I'm excited to work with him. His experience has been around the league. It's like, no. I watched him with the greatest player of all time. And that's going to continue to be the outlook. Josh McDaniels is going to coach him hard. Very, very demanding of every position group. That's going to demand a lot.
Sure.
A lot of Drake May and the wide receivers, but Drake May is open to it, man. And you know what? I think the one thing he got out of his rookie season, Travis, aside from experience, perspective.
Yeah.
When Josh McDaniels is bearing down on him, giving him a playbook, 800 sheets of paper
Coaching him
thick,
hard. Yep.
He's going to go, I'll take this over last season.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, where everyone was looking at him to be the savior, right?
Yeah.
They were looking to him. Like, what do you want to do, Drake?
Yep.
Look, you want to talk about Patriot way. I mean, this kid, they have indoctrinated this kid the right way. You're watching tape of Tom Brady. You're hanging with Josh McDaniels, learning from him. Vrabes is your coach. Like, he is surrounded, okay, with the cloak of the Patriots. Now, I remember we did something, you and I, was it a Fanatics rookie thing or something where Tom went and talked to all the rooks? You remember this? And he obviously took a liking to Drake May, and we think there's a really good relationship there. I feel like, I would have to guess, can pick up the phone and call Tom anytime.
Can he? Tom owns the Raiders.
I would think.
Can Tom pick up the phone?
Oh, you mean like collusion or
yeah,
something?
like literally, I don't think Tom can pick up that phone.
Can he? Because he's calling games every Sunday. I mean, what's the big deal?
I get what you're saying.
He talks to Jaden Daniels.
That had to have been is that a report that came out?
I've seen him do it. He's like, we FaceTime. He talks to Shadur. He's getting drafted. Tom FaceTimes.
I don't know what's allowed anymore.
I don't think there are rules.
I don't think Goodell cares.
I don't think so either.
I don't think Goodell gives a – because you know what?
He doesn't care.
Side tangent – Tom Brady's a partial owner of the Raiders.
Right.
And as we saw just happen in New Orleans,
yes,
Roger Goodell doesn't care what you do as long as you are an owner of an NFL franchise.
Facts.
Roger Goodell, you spineless. I'm done.
He really is, bro. We need to change
I wish I had a green screen behind me because our director, Jay, could have given me fire. I really do. We'll work on that. I like the hard set. I like it.
Bro, I mean... Drake May is set up for success in every way possible. Patriots history, learning from the greats. I think he's going to become a really, and it goes back to what I said, he's going to be more efficient.
Yeah.
So he has an opportunity now to become an all-around quarterback. We don't need the big – I know he's a gunslinger, and I don't want to change that from him, George. I like that about him.
Yeah.
But we don't need you to make hero plays all the time. Caleb Williams has to learn this in Chicago, too. A lot of these young guys just manage the game. Death by 1,000 cuts is what I've been using as sort of the analogy.
You know who does that?
Mahomes.
No, not even. Jaden Daniels. That's the most efficient offense, one of the most efficient offenses in the NFL.
Jaden Daniels.
And that was an offense, especially when they got hot in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, let's get to 3rd and 4 and then 4th and 1, and we're going to do 4-down territory.
That's right.
This entire drive. 3rd and 7, let's get to 4th and 3.
Yeah.
4-down territory.
Efficient. I think Mahomes is the best at it because when Mahomes first started with Tyreek Hill.
50 touchdowns his first full season as a starter.
Travis Kelce was younger, so they were more splashy plays.
Yeah.
He loses Tyreek Hill. Everything gets condensed. They become a defensive team.
Defenses change.
All of a sudden, this guy is as efficient as it gets. He doesn't turn the ball over. I think that's what – I'm not comparing Drake and Mahomes, but I'm saying I think we'll see a more efficient Drake May in the future years to come.
We've seen the best version of Justin Herbert so far.
Yeah.
Because Jim Harbaugh went to him and said, I'm going to get the most out of you.
That's right.
By asking the least you've ever
By
been
less.
asked.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
Sometimes less is more, and that's what's
Yeah.
going to be with Drake May. Here's one more. This is the juicy one, Travis, one I'm
Okay.
excited to talk about. With Kay Adams,
Yeah.
talking about free agent wide receivers.
I'm not going to ask you which free agent you'd like to bring to Boston, but I'm going to ask you, if you had $120 million in cap space from P&G for Battle of the Paddles, which free agent that you were around at the Pro Bowl would you want to bring into the mix?
That's a great.
Hey,
Okay, you got some great questions here today.
Jamar.
Jamar's obviously a great answer. I think. Another receiver there that I met. Nico Collins was awesome. Nico was awesome. Any other free agents? Who else? I don't know any other free agents. Justin Jefferson, he's an easy person to.
Jamar Chase, 6 foot, 200.
any
Justin
of 'em.
Jefferson, 6'1".
Any of them, George.
Around 200. Nico Collins, 6'4", 222. My
Any
guy's
of 'em.
got a type. Everyone's got a type. Everyone has a type. I'll say it. Look at my resume.
Yeah.
Only ever dated brunettes. My fiance, brunette. Love her to death. You know what Drake May's looking at? You know who I've had? Look at my resume. My best receivers, 6 foot and above.
Yeah.
Big dudes, playmakers, elite number 1 wide receivers.
Sounds good to me.
You know who's 6'4", 215?
T. Higgins?
Bingo.
Yeah. I like it.
Hey, credit. That was on Up and Adams with Kay Adams. Credit to Kay Adams how to word that question. It was wise. Trav, you know what? At the end of the day, he said too when he's naming those 3 guys. Now,
What?
of course, they're all Pro Bowlers. Bona fide number 1.
Yes.
Not a number 1 for us.
Not in question.
which
Right.
T. Higgins, you can argue.
Yeah.
Bona fide
Yep.
number 1.
Straight studs.
He's not above having a talented guy on the outside. He's not trying to give me any receiver. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he can. We literally saw him do it
Yeah.
this past year with Pop Douglas. Pop was great for them. But he's
Yeah.
saying, give me a bona fide number 1. No doubt about it. This is a true top guy, elite outside talent in the league.
You know what hearing that sound made me think of? Because his numbers were pretty good, but I just wish T. Higgins was a Pro Bowler and they had got to hang around and he had got to throw to him.
Yeah.
And he had got to kind of pick his brain and vice versa, right?
Yep.
T. Higgins learns to really like this Drake May kid. I got to hang out with him at the Pro Bowl. I liked his vibe. I like the ball he throws. I wish that had happened because all these guys that he's around, and you're right, it was a great question by Kay, but I mean, we're not in the market for any of them, unfortunately. And I just wish, because his numbers were really good, George. I just wish T. Higgins was a Pro Bowler, and they had a chance to vibe.
My one thing, I remember watching the national championship game and Jeremiah Smith be Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
The Patriots trade back from 4 to get the Jets' 7th overall pick in next year's first.
You're trying to get Jeremiah Smith now?
They trade back from 7 to get the Colts' 14th pick and their first in 2026 and 2027. So with all those first, I'm honing in on 2027. So they got the Jets' 2027 first round, excuse me.
Oh, my God.
You take those 3 firsts you have in 2027,
Carry
take
the
all
one.
3, and you trade up to number 1 overall, and you take Jeremiah Smith.
Okay. Can we just get to Wednesday? Can you just relax? Like, I mean, come on, dog. We're going 27.
Yep.
Okay.
If you're enjoying the show, be sure to check out Nesson's Daily Sports Podcast. Boston has entered the chat. We talk about all the trending sports news in Boston and around the country. It's available on Amazon, Apple, Spotify, Twitch, YouTube, and wherever else you get your podcasts.
I went a little Jim Mora on you there. Playoffs? We're just trying to win a game, George.
2027?
2027?
I'm talking about this year.
I'm trying to get to the weekend, bro.
I got 27 states. There's not a lot of smiling and mining. That's what you get. All right, newest addition of the Patriots coaching staff. The position coach I was most interested in.
Yeah, you
outside
were.
of OC and QB coach.
You were.
Wide receivers coach. It's going to be Todd Downing.
Yep.
Real quick synopsis on his resume. Tight end coach under Mike Vrabel at Tennessee from 2019 to 2020. Offensive coordinator 2021 and 2022.
Yep.
He was let go by the team. Was it Mike Vrabel? Was it Amy Adams Strunk stepping in and saying, you got to get a new OC in here? I don't know. Brings him in as his wide receivers coach. Now, Todd Downing's been in the league, coaching in the NFL since 2005. Never been a wide receivers coach before. He's been a QB coach, tight ends coach, offensive coordinator, passing game coordinator with the Jets when he was around Garrett Wilson.
Sure.
So he doesn't have wide receiver coach resume experience.
Yeah, but he's been around, right?
He's been around quarterbacks, tight ends, passing game coordinators. You learn the nuances of the position.
Yeah.
More importantly, this is a former offensive coordinator working with Josh McDaniels. There's a lot of leadership in that room. Don't love the hire. I wanted a Wes Welker, a guy that's been in the McDaniels system.
Yes.
A guy that's been around a Mike Vrabel, been on the field to teach these guys. But again, when you have Josh McDaniels in the room, I kind of let go and I defer to who you're picking to hire.
Oh, man, we're twinsies in this segment. I feel the exact same way. I was really heartbroken when it wasn't Wes Welker. Not because of everything not only because of everything you laid out, but also you just need a veteran presence in that wide receiver room. And I know Wes doesn't play anymore. I'm talking like he does. But unless you go out and get a Cooper Kupp, who we talked about to start the show, but you need a veteran presence. And Wes, I felt like just a gravitas of him being in that room with these young wide receivers, even a T. Higgins, George, who's young, could really go a long way. And obviously that didn't happen. I'm sure Downing will do a fine job. I'm happy with it. He has experience. He's bounced around the league. He's a Vrabel guy. Everything you said. He'll be just fine. But I was disappointed because I thought Wes could have gave you that extra. Some things you just can't quantify, George. Having a guy who played the position as good as he was, who played here, who played in the system, in your wide receiver room with a bunch of pups, I mean, you can't quantify that. That would have been valuable. They didn't go that direction. Good for Downing. I'll root for him. But I was disappointed it wasn't Wes Welker.
I would have liked to seen, and again, it was with Thomas Brown getting tight ends coach, passing game coordinator that made things interesting.
Yeah.
I would like to see Thomas Brown being tight ends coach, run game coordinator. He has some running backs coach history to him. You bring in Wes Welker, wide receivers coach, passing game coordinator, or Chad O'Shea. You get him from Cleveland.
Sure.
Those are the guys that should have been the wide receivers coach, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Chris Hogan, awesome interview I had with him on this very program. And I remember talking with our producer, Ethan, our guy Keegs, before, and I go, hey, I think I'm asking about Chad O'Shea. And Keegs is like, why O'Shea? I'm like, hey, wide receivers coach. I'm going to bring him up. Let's see what he has to say. Hogan brought him up on his own. Hey, you know why I succeeded? It wasn't Josh McDaniels. It was Chad O'Shea giving us all the answers to the test, as they always say about Patriots players. I knew exactly every situation, everything I had to do.
Yep.
Does Todd Browning bring that? Downing, excuse me. I would have liked, with how polarizing this wide receiver room is, where like a Jalen Poole can become a Jacoby Myers. Cool, get me Chad O'Shea, who's worked with the Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
I'm over Javon Baker. You're gonna draft 2 pass catchers this draft. I am locked in. You have to do it, and you need to sign another free agency.
Yes.
You're gonna get 3 new guys in.
Yep.
Give me a wide receivers coach or a guy that's either played or coached in the system before. Todd Downing, I yet to be seen. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
I get hiring your guys. Couldn't get Welker, and what would the price of Welker have been? Was ownership willing to let you pay?
I wonder if he burned too many bridges.
Welker?
Yeah. He burned a lot of bridges here, George. Ooh. And I wonder if that played into it.
Let me see. Filibuster real quick.
I mean, listen, we know he bounced around the league. He won at different places.
Went to the Broncos.
The people didn't like the way he left. You know, him and Belichick were there was a little friction there. I just wonder, how much of it could be money too, because we're talking about Downing and his experience level. Welker has experience level at this very position, right? As a wide receivers coach. So it could have easily been that. Yeah. It could have been money.
I think it was more amends and more butting heads with Belichick and Welker than Welker and ownership.
Well, maybe. We don't know.
And again, what was his price tag? Just the comparison. Laurie and the Eagles.
Yeah.
He's paying Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio $9 million this year. They're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Laurie is willing to put his money where it needs to be to bring a championship.
Absolutely.
Are the Crafts that way? Is Jonathan Kraft and Robert Kraft that way?
That's a good point. By the way, I think the Niners, I don't know the numbers, but I know the Niners took care of Saleh too. They took care of him.
Oh, yeah.
In financial. So, yet to your point, the elite teams pay their assistants top notch.
You have to.
You can't argue that. That's facts.
We'll talk one more coordinator in 2 seconds. But first, if you're enjoying the show, be sure to check out Foxborough Rush every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for all things Patriots football. Mike Vrabel's staff's taking shape. like hiring Todd Downing. Patriots have the 4th overall pick. A lot of money to spend. We covered it all here on Foxborough Rush. Wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime. You can also watch on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Now, this broke my heart. Chip Kelly, offensive coordinator of the Raiders.
I thought about
because
you.
I had my one thing, man.
I thought about you.
And I wouldn't be shocked if Josh McDaniels did it this past season because he was around the college game.
Yeah.
I wanted Josh McDaniels, and again, they hired Riley Larkin from Ohio State. I wanted him to hang out for 2 weeks in a log cabin up in New Hampshire, just Josh McDaniels and Chip Kelly, watching film ad nauseum.
Yep.
Go out, go fishing, but talk your scheme
Yep.
and how to bring the best out of Drake May.
Yeah.
Because of what he did with Will Howard. Chip Kelly's now the offensive coordinator with the Raiders. Long resume, a lot of experience. He doesn't have to lead that team. That's Pete Carroll's job.
Yeah.
Look, didn't love the Pete Carroll hire. I really do like this Chip Kelly hire as the offensive coordinator for the Raiders.
I like it too for them.
Who's your quarterback going to be, though?
But listen, I'm going to be honest with you. The Raiders are going to Raider because Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly together, oh, man, this would have been a dream come true in 2006. I mean, what do you want me to do? Throw a parade for Tom Brady and the Raiders for getting Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly in 2025? I mean, it's all right.
Chip Kelly, yes.
It's all right. But 20 years ago would have been a better time, George. I mean, let's just face the facts. I'm not. What do you want me to do? Like, give the Raiders props? That ain't going to happen.
Good offensive coordinator hire. I just still don't see what this team is moving forward.
Right.
A lot of question marks
Yes.
with the existence of this team.
My point exactly.
He's Travis Thomas. I'm George Balekji. This is Foxborough Rush. Appreciate you guys making us a part of your day. Make sure to catch new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime. You can catch on iHeart as well. If you like to watch your podcast, go to Nesson's YouTube page, hit the subscribe button, leave us a thumbs up, leave us a comment. We'll bring you guys onto the show. You can also watch on Facebook and Twitch as well. And make sure to follow Nesson on Instagram as well and on TikTok. We post our content there too. And comment on the social media channels. Guys, at me, at George Balekji. I know it's hard to spell, but
He
please
gets
at
back.
me so I'll see it, get the noti,
Yes.
and I'll bring you guys on the show in that conversation. He's Double TMGB. This was Rush. We'll see you guys next time.